Hey, it's Coach Tori, and we are re-releasing an old episode from our old podcast, Raising Runners. So if you are an old Raising Runners listener, you've already heard this probably, but other people might want to check it out. We talk about running etiquette and a few things from social media, so it is kind of a fun chat, so hopefully you enjoy it, and we'll be back to our news next week. And today we are talking running etiquette, because I feel like it came up in some recent episodes, but also maybe one of our like running rhetoric episodes, or just kind of in casual conversation. I can't even remember now, but I feel like we've been talking about it. And then you found some, we talked about how we didn't really have any, I feel like actually is what we talked about. Then you found some info and have changed your mind on that. I have yet to change my mind. And then I took to social media and found a lot of things people had to say. So we're kind of going to talk through those things as well. It'll probably be a little bit shorter, but first I wanted to ask how your running resolutions are going, a whole 3 days in.
3 days in. I am 3 for 3, 100 and, I don't know, 24 days to go till the marathon.
Wow.
So I'm on track after 3 days, though.
I mean, that's progress. I don't know what the statistics are. I think it's usually by like February, people have dropped off by a large margin, but
Yeah, I
3
think
days strong is good.
I think it's within 3 weeks, 80+% of people's resolutions are gone.
That's wild. That like proves that we shouldn't do them, but won't digress on that. Cool. Yeah, I ran twice so far this week, very short, but I did a run. That's actually, I put the shoes on, planned the run, did the run. So, that speaks to nothing.
Your voice sounds better, so it sounds like maybe you're getting healthier. I know last time we were on the call, your voice sounded like it was struggling. So
yeah, I've been taking, now it's just like a sinus thing. Sinuses are still feeling like if I like move too fast or like turn my head, it's like a whole, fun, like that weird sinus stuff. But and we went to Dutch Wonderland over the weekend, and in the roller coasters, it was like not great. But and by roller coasters, it's toddler roller coasters, right? But like it's still a roller coaster to me, especially. So
yeah, it sounds more like a merry-go-round, but okay.
Yeah, but like some of them are intense. Like there's a turtle ride that it does like
turtle ride. I mean, a turtle ride.
I know. And of course he's obsessed with the turtle ride, but yeah, it goes like goes in a circle, and then you're in a thing, but like it's not like the teacups where like it spins kind of at a consistent rate and you can like adjust the speed. It's like on like some kind of like tilted spinny thing that like the I'm sure you've done the ride, but
oh yeah,
it's intense, and it was a lot. So for me, and of course, like I can barely stand up when the ride's over after 45 seconds or whatever. And he's like, again. I'm like, I'm gonna throw up, but sure. So yeah, so sinuses are the problem now, but yeah, voice is better. We're now on like yet another round of sickness in the house, so fingers crossed it doesn't get to me, but we'll see. So but yeah, 2 runs in, so I something.
Well, congrats.
Oh, thanks. Okay, so running etiquette, I honestly can't even remember where I was at last time we talked about it, but I feel like it was the very basic things. But I also feel like so my thoughts on running etiquette was like, obviously it's like, courtesy type things, but more like what you need to know if you've never run before, to be like, how do I almost like fit in, kind of, right? Not like, I don't know, maybe I'm saying that wrong too, but like, so I'm thinking like, when I go to a new gym or whatever, like I want to know like, where am I supposed to put my stuff? Who do I talk to? Do we put things away in this order? Like CrossFit's one of those things where it's like, you don't clean up your stuff until everyone's done. Like that's something you want to know before you start class, right? So that's more how I was thinking of like running etiquette. And that's where I'm coming up with things like, you don't flat tire somebody, or you don't go running right around somebody and then you slow down right in front of them, right? Or when you're running on the roads, like typically people are running like with traffic, but they also can do the other way. You don't really want to run when there's no shoulder, like those kinds of things that are just like make sense. But do you remember what some of yours were before we did some looking into it?
I think I only had 2 before. One was like the don't stop short of the water station.
Ah, right.
Yeah, and the other one was, I guess, the don't run like in five wide on the street. So when you run up on them, you can't. Okay, now I've got to go way around them if I happen to be running quicker than them. Um, so that was the only two I had on my list. But I might be a running jerk, and you might be a running jerk.
I
Meaning,
might be.
if we only have two things on our etiquette list, and there's actually 10, we might be running jerks.
Yeah. So I feel like I'm going to go through social media first, and
Okay,
then we'll see if it lines up with the list you found. Does that work?
that's work. I'll try to tick mine off as you go through yours, and hopefully I'll just be able to add a couple in at the end.
All right. So, and again, this was like put on large groups in Facebook, so got lots of fun crowdsourcing. But also, anybody who did not hear your things listed, please feel free to write in because we would love to talk about it. So the first, things again, a lot of it makes lots of sense, slash like goes along with things we already talked about. So giving distance, don't run too close. Also people mentioned like some people don't like chatting. So I think we've talked about this in a bunch of different contexts, but like some people want to talk, some people don't want to talk. So that was like another running etiquette thing people were saying. So this list kind of turns more into like pet peeves.
Yeah, because I don't know how I'm
That's not
supposed to know whether you want
etiquette.
to talk or not. Because by the way, I don't want to talk.
Right.
So,
Right.
but if someone talks to me, I will not be rude and not talk back.
Right.
But
Right.
I mean, I guess I wouldn't think someone was being rude if they just started talking to me. I didn't really want to talk.
Right. So for me, I would say like the don't run too close, and that goes for like the front, the side, and the back.
Yeah,
And that would go with running etiquette. I would say the talking thing is more of like a pet peeve. And then like now you're struggling with like social dynamics, which can be annoying, but not really an etiquette issue.
I agree.
Um, and one thing that actually did not come up on here for running etiquette, and this is something I never knew people talked about, but have you heard of like one stepping in running? I think they're calling it one stepping.
No, I'm not familiar
Okay.
with one step.
So I know probably like they're gonna be like, you're an idiot. That's not what it is. But I saw this on social media recently too, is when you're running with people, a group of people, and if someone like, you're running like all kind of like abreast, right? If you're running, spread out or whatever. And then there's the person who like is one or two steps like in front of the group, like they have to always have like that one step edge.
I'm
It almost
leading the pack.
right, right, right. So that's a thing that like people hate, which I'm like, oh my gosh, again, like, yeah, because I am that person. I am always that person. Never realized it. But I feel the opposite when it's like, if I feel like I'm not one step, then I'm like, oh no, this person's pushing the pace, and then that makes me anxious. So that's one that's not on this list, but I just learned about this recently.
So I think
Um,
we've now just confirmed.
I'm the running jerk.
Yes.
Oops. Yeah, I didn't even mean to put that out so early, but yeah, sorry everybody. I don't
So
know how
now
to
it's
run right.
yeah, now it's a function of how much like, are you a real big jerk? Like, do you violate 10 of the 11 rules, or are you violating just one or two? I mean, I think we all probably violate one or two rules.
Probably. So
Yeah.
here's another one that I didn't think of, because I know we talked about like, going with traffic if you're running on
Yeah.
like roads and stuff, but people are also saying slow runners should stay to the right and people should pass on the left like traffic, which I feel like now you're assuming people are doing too much organization, especially like in a race. I think to some extent that happens, but also I feel like you pass people wherever it makes sense to pass them. No?
Well, I think I'm
Oh
going to
my
say
gosh, am I
that rule
wrong
I knew.
again?
I'm going to say I'm not backing you on this one. I knew that rule.
What?
Yeah, because
Slow
everyone always
people
says
stay to the
like
right?
on the left. Everyone like you don't hear on the right, you hear on the left. I'm passing on the left. So when you come up on someone, you almost, again, maybe you don't say, maybe you say, hey, I'm coming off on your right. That's not
Maybe
what you
I
should be
just
saying.
maybe I just never thought about it. Because yes, I know like on the trail, like the bikes always go by and they're on the left, and that like makes sense. But I guess like in my head, I'm more stuck on like slow people stay on the right. I don't feel like that's a thing. Like how do I
Yeah,
know
no,
how I know
that
how do I know I'm the slow person on the right? How do I know how fast you're going? Right?
yeah.
No? Oh my gosh, am I just like a
Well,
dummy?
I think it's like driving, right? If you shouldn't be in the passing lane unless you're passing someone. So you should
Okay.
naturally gravitate to the right hand side of the path just to allow always people to pass. So you don't have to worry about how fast they're going, because they'll have the open road unless you're passing someone.
Yeah. Okay. No, and I'm picturing myself running on like the one big trail near here, and I definitely am always staying on the right, especially because I have the stroller and people always pass to the left. So like I do this, but I don't think I consciously thought of this. And I'm picturing in like a race setting, I don't think I'm always passing on the left. But
It's a rule. It's a rule.
yikes! Well, apparently, and I didn't know
Yeah,
it. Great. Okay, this one has to not be a thing that people all know about. Raising your hand when you're slowing down or stopping, so
that's the
people
thing.
behind that.
That's the
What?
thing. Yes.
Well, I guess I've never.
I don't think that was probably a little bit more obscure. I mean, I do think
What?
people do that. Like it's almost like there's a warning signal, like military people. Like it's like slowing. Hey, everyone, hold still. I mean, I think so. So I do think there's a little bit of like, hey, I'm about to do something.
I've
No,
never seen this in my life, and I
that
also am
one.
not a slower down or stopper in like a big group of runners, like at a race or whatever. But I've never seen that.
I'd say it's rare. I will say that I have
Okay.
seen it, but it's not. It's been the rare occasion. So, but it wasn't like when I saw it, I was like, oh, what is this guy raising his hand for? Like,
Okay. Wow. I'm like really drawing a blank here. I'm the worst.
maybe because
Okay.
I sent that list into you on social media.
Yeah, right. Exactly. You're the only one that responded. Be able to hear your surroundings. Again, that is like more of a safety thing, I think we talk about, but like, yeah, I guess that makes sense
Well, that's
as
on
an
my list.
etiquette thing.
It's a little bit of an etiquette thing, right? From the standpoint of if your headphones are too loud to hear the person coming up from behind to say, "I'm on your left,"
Ah, right. That
then
that whole rule.
yeah, that rule back to rule number one, right? Whatever that rule is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think if you have it too loud, and the other thing I saw on social on a couple of different lists, it wasn't on my original list, was if you're running in a group, leave your headphones at home. That's like sort of etiquette. So
Yeah.
if you're agreeing to be social and going to run with a group, don't even bring your headphones because you don't want to be that guy. And maybe you're that girl, maybe you are that girl.
This one I will say, like I mean, because I'm often running alone, so I'm usually listening to something, even though I have those open headphones. But yeah, when I run with the group, I don't even bring them, but there is a few people who do, and it does always make you feel like a little weird when you like find yourself running next to them because you're like, oh, I don't talk to them because they're got their headphones in.
Especially
Um,
if you say something to them and then they're like,
huh?
oh what? And they click their ear.
And you're like,
So now like, oh,
oh
I have to repeat
no.
it now because I was really just saying hi. Like
Right. I
now
was
it's
just like, hey,
awkward.
how's it going? Or like, funny seeing you here in the group. Right. Yeah. It's like I was just asking about the weather. So yeah, so no, that is a good like safety thing. And I guess it does fall in etiquette too. Now this is one that I do not do, have never done, but I don't think this is an etiquette rule because I don't think I see people do this all the time. So no snot rockets was a rule. Okay,
Uh,
fair,
yeah,
that's gross, but people do
yeah.
that constantly. You're at a race somewhere and it's just like people are blowing their noses in all directions. So like should be a rule, doesn't seem to actually be one, right?
Yeah, no, I'm with you. That one, I mean, when you're running, like if your nose is running and it's sort of interfering with your breathing, it's almost like you have to do it. If again, you don't have to do it, but so the only thing I saw on the etiquette list was there was one like that that I didn't have initially on mine either. It was like a UK rule. Is if you're going to spit, you have to look around before you do it. So
Fair.
so I think that's would apply here too. Is if you're gonna do that, just make sure it's not a windy day and the wind's not blowing at the next person like next to you. Just be conscious of it.
I will
It
say,
is
I feel
gross.
like,
It is gross though.
so gross. I feel like I usually see people do try to like lean off to the side or like even just like lean lower. So like if for nothing else, it like hits your leg. It's not
Yeah,
like your face. I don't know. Nasty regardless.
it is nasty, but I mean, I've
Yeah,
done
people
it.
do it everywhere. Not
Yeah,
me.
I have done it. I mean, it's just like if you're on a 10-mile run and it's cold and your nose is running, it's like again, it's interfering with your breathing. I mean, I don't have a choice. I feel like I mean, I do bring tissues. I will do that, but they run out. Like I mean, how many tissues can you have?
So, and yeah, yeah, I say like I don't do it like I'm like all above everyone else. I'm probably grosser. I'll do the sleeve because I don't have the finesse of like blowing it anywhere because it would just be running down my yeah, it would right, it's disgusting. It would just run I do the sleeve
It
like a
wouldn't be a
little kid.
rocket. It would be sort of just
It's
an
just like a
aborted
blob.
mission.
Yeah, so yeah, gross. But that way it's not getting on anyone else. So like I really am not violating etiquette rules because it's just in my sleeve and I fold it up,
Yep.
good to go.
Okay. All right.
Gross. Anyway, moving on to less gross. this is what I thought was weird because we kind of talked about this with giving distance. So I obviously saw people saying like if you're running in a group, kind of stay like bunched up or whatever, and like rows or something, like, so you're not like 10 people across,
Yeah.
right? But then I saw some people saying if you're running in a group, spread out so that people can like
Like
filter through
weave
your
in between you,
group.
like
Right. Sorry, whoever suggested that. I'm not laughing at you. I'm just like confused by that seems more complicated.
yeah.
Um,
I mean, they could mean, just to give them the benefit of the doubt, they could mean like if you're a group of 10. I mean, she's not suggesting you would line up, he or she wouldn't suggest you line up 10 across and just run like a complete barrier like across the stage.
maybe, yeah, maybe I'm picturing it wrong. Maybe they meant like in twos or
Yeah,
threes.
yeah, group,
Yeah.
yeah, pair up a little bit, like yeah, yeah. That's what I was sort of picturing when you said, just again to try to give someone the benefit of the doubt that they wouldn't be suggesting just line up across the thing like, hey, we're going to prevent everyone from passing.
Right. Okay. No, that makes more sense. Sorry, I chuckled. It's probably the same thing. I was just thinking the wrong thing. I'm like on a roll today.
You are.
Yeah. Thank the race workers and any volunteers. Again, like maybe not etiquette, that's more just like manners for people.
It
But
was on
again,
the
not a
etiquette.
bad one.
It's not a bad one. It was on the etiquette list. Show respect to
Okay.
volunteers, so it's on the race day list.
All right. This was one people were very like everyone was putting this one. People were like liking, commenting, like, yes, this. Okay, ready? Start in the correct racing corral. So not even just like if you're too slow, you shouldn't be there, but also like they don't want the fast people, which you do. They don't want the fast people in the back passing people and causing whatever issues. But yeah, they really don't want the slow people in the front for sure. And they really don't like the thing that you also don't like of like you started out with a group and you're immediately walking. That makes no sense. You're in the wrong corral. So yeah, people are very. I didn't think this was a thing people cared too much about. Again,
Yeah,
I get it though, because like they're there for a reason. But yeah,
this is
not
the one
people aren't
that
like this.
yeah, this is the one that I'm the jerk. So
Yeah.
yeah, because as you know, right? I mean, it really was that first race we did last year, the Rocky Run, where we started in the very back because we had the stroller. Wait,
Mm-hmm.
I said we had the
I was
stroller.
gonna say
We had
we
the
had the
stroller.
stroller.
Yeah, we were there, and I didn't have a stroller, and you did. So we had to start in the back, and it was like the best thing ever. I'm like, wow, this is and as you realize and you remember, right? As soon as the gun went off, I was planning to run with you
Yeah, it didn't
both of the
happen.
way. That didn't happen. As soon as the gun went off, something triggered inside me. I don't know
You
what it
left.
was, but I went back to my like college and high school running days, and the gun went off, and I had to go, and I just went, and it was like, wow, this is motivating passing people like the whole time. Like I was keeping track. Like, has anyone passed me yet? And when you start dead last, there aren't many people to pass you.
Correct.
So, but unless you pass someone who's really going slow early on, and then they decide like, okay, I'm not letting that guy pass me, they could come back and get you. But most races I've been doing that. I think I've done it every time since then.
I was gonna say, I think
So
you brought that up.
I am the jerk on that one.
Well, I will say that people think that's the lesser of two evils. People really hate the slow people starting in the front. So, you know, you're breaking a rule, but not the worst part of the rule.
Okay. Right.
Um, let's see. Keep kids under control at family events if it's like a family running thing.
Yeah, I
Sure,
don't even think you need to put family thing. I think you just got to keep kids under control. You stop
everywhere.
it. Period. Full stop.
But right, that's like doesn't feel like a running etiquette thing. Because also, like, if you're running with your kids, you're okay. I'm picturing me running with my like I'm responsible for James in the stroller because I don't have to keep him in control. He's in the stroller. If he's running as a person, like by himself, now it's like his own running rule. Like it's a his running etiquette. Like
When do you
I'm
start
obviously
being the
responsible as a
parent?
parent, though. It's not like it's not a running thing. I'm now a parent who has to be responsible for a kid. Like you would have to be responsible for him anywhere, whether he was running or not. You know what I mean? No, is it not a running thing?
Yeah, well, I guess I was just picturing how was this young athlete, this little 5 year old who's now out there for his first run, 5K. How is he to know all these etiquette rules? Are you supposed to teach him these etiquette rules, or is it learned by experience? So you got to coach him a little bit during the run, like, hey, you can't keep jumping left and right. You can't chase butterflies during the run.
I
Uh,
guess.
yeah, I don't know. That's just
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. Well, keep kids under control. People were also big on this. Keep the kids under control. And with this, keep dogs on a short leash
That's on the
if you're
list.
running with
Bang.
dogs. And if you have a stroller or a dog, you start in the back. All those kind of feel lumped together.
They are. They are all linked together. I think the words they use is keep your dog in check.
Ooh, get him.
Yeah. And I think you should follow this rule since you
I
tripped
should.
too. You tripped too.
But also, like, this again is a weird one. Again, I get it because I've seen people on the trails and some of them don't have their dogs under control. And it is very alarming when you're running past a dog who's like, even if they're not being aggressive or whatever, and that doesn't even need to be in quotes, but, and they're like going towards you, like that feels scary to people. That can cause a safety concern. So, like, I do totally understand that. I
Yeah, I
felt
mean,
like
there
I
was a
was saying
guy.
that like there was a but there's not.
Okay, no, I wasn't sure if you were done, but
Yeah, I was done.
yeah, I mean, I have the same caution, right? Because I run on that trail in Cooper River in Jersey here, so there's a lot of people who walk their dogs, and some people have them off leash, and they're, these can be some pretty big dogs, and I'm like, man, I just don't know which one's going to be the one that's going to take off, or if you pass someone and they're not facing you, right? They're walking the same direction you are, but they're walking their dog, you're
Hmm.
running. As you go by, you don't want to startle them or the dog, and because it could just lurch at you. So
Oh yeah.
it's a little concerning when that's why you have to announce on your left, coming on your left.
Right. Yes, that's why all these rules are working in tandem. Again, things I just never thought about, I guess. Or I
Yeah,
just assumed because they were just part of, running. I didn't know it had to be like an explicit thing.
yeah, there's a rule.
Um, let's see. Oh, using speakers out loud. Like obviously, right? That is the most you do that, don't you?
No, no, I do not. No, that's not true. I have done it, but only the one time that I couldn't get my headphones connected.
Ah,
But
okay.
one time is one time. It was a marathon, so there was a lot of people that I'm sure heard Eminem.
Yep.
I really didn't want
Lose
to hear
yourself.
Eminem over and over again.
Oh, geez. Yeah. Yeah, I get that one though. Like that is kind of, but also, I mean, I actually don't get that one. I do. I get it. People
I
want to have a
do.
thing.
I don't think you should impose your music on other people.
No, but I also feel like, yeah, okay, fine. Yes, you're right. I've never done that, but I'm picturing like when we run races and, like the Rocky Run's a good example, right? Because they have like lots of different people doing music or like there's a radio show on the side of the thing. Like I think that's so fun to run past them and like hear whatever they're playing and whatever. And like there's just like a fun thing. But yeah, I guess if I'm running next to someone the entire time and they happen to be
Yeah.
listening to some, yeah, I get it. Okay, you're
Yeah, no,
right. That
yeah,
one's
running
good.
past them, I think it's great when you run past them. It's like, that person's listening to like country music. Yeah. It's when you're right with them, like for the next half hour. It's like,
Yeah.
man, I don't want to hear that. So the other
Yeah.
thing that was on the list that related to this one is don't have your watch like announcing like either beeping for the mile. I've never noticed that one. My watch does like it's always either on my headphones. I never or it's on vibrate. Have you noticed that one as being an issue? Like when you're doing runs on a race and people are have their watch like sort of beeping every mile or something or less.
No, I never
Okay.
noticed that. I know like when I run sometimes with the group when it's like much quieter than a race, like you'll hear the most I ever hear is like someone's watch saying like we're at a mile, but like mine had gone off. Like they all go off at the same time, so it's just kind of like whatever. But that was on this list as well. People were saying that they don't like the metronome, I guess, of like whoever if you're doing the run walk method and your thing's going off constantly, which again is kind of weird because again, maybe I have my like when I do intervals, it goes to my headphones, like the sound, so it doesn't go to the phone, I don't think. Or like out loud. So, yeah, no, I get that could be annoying. Not annoying enough for me to probably bring it up though as a rule, but
Yeah, not
um
enough to confront somebody who's doing
yeah,
it.
like I feel like I would maybe think like in the moment, like, oh wow, that's like just keeps beeping, but like, yeah, that wouldn't bother me enough to be like, you shouldn't do that. Because like I get the idea of like people if you that's your plan and that's how you're gonna run the thing, like it's a beep, right? It's not like I don't know.
You
I
know
don't know.
why? This is how you become the running jerk, right? These things that bother other people, they don't bother
They
you,
don't
so you
bother
don't
me, so I'm
notice them.
like, it's fine. Yeah, I'm gonna have my metronome next time. I don't know what to be beeping for, but it's gonna be for something. Yeah, no, but I did see a lot of people had complaints about that. I get it in theory, but I also am just like I don't get it that much.
Yeah, I haven't noticed that one, but as you just described it, which was much better than I described, because I was really picturing more like it beeping every mile. I'm thinking, how annoying could that be? But
Yeah.
if it's something like what you're saying, yeah, people are doing like sort of intervals or some, it's going off every like
Like
30 seconds
minute.
or less. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I
That
can
would be
I
a little bit annoying.
but also like if you're running, if you're near those people, you're probably doing a similar type structure. So like could it not just be helpful? Right? Like if you're running, if I like say I'm running like a 9 minute mile or a 10 minute mile, I'm not going to be near a person who's doing a run walk that often. Right? But
Good
anyway,
one. Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah.
so that's one, yeah. Running straight, this kind of goes along with I should have clumped that in with like the group. So I only thought of this one too because like I run with children a lot and they do not run straight. And it's very annoying to have to continue to tell them like you can't zigzag because now you're gonna trip me and then I trip you and I'm an adult falling over top of a kid, which is bad. Right? Like no. I feel like that's like needs to be a rule for adults to like run straight in a race.
Yeah, I
Maybe?
can't imagine why would you not want to run straight? Like, what's the concept of there's definitely no advantage to not running straight, right? You want to run straight, straight line, shortest distance.
Yeah. Like unless like you're right, because then it's like, okay, if they're running like the tangent and you're following the curvy road, then it's just like, okay, you're just kind of being dumb, right? Should you not
Yeah,
just be also running? They're not going to cut you off because you should all just kind of be running the same
same line. Yeah,
thing. So yeah,
yeah, I
so that
can't
one was kind
imagine.
of like odd to me.
Yeah, maybe it comes into play with maybe water stops, or I mean maybe there are people who
Okay.
want to change. Oh, I want to be on the other side of the street. I want to be back on this side of the street. I guess maybe that can happen. I can't imagine anyone has a people. Adults don't run like children. Adults don't just weave around aimlessly for no reason.
Right, right. Like I feel like they're usually kind of there's a purpose because they don't want to fall either. Like adults falling hurts, right?
Yeah,
So you're not trying to do something crazy. But yeah, so that was one that came up, and I was a little surprised about that too. Just again, not that like it shouldn't be a rule, but I kind of thought it was just like inherently what we did. Um, Another one was, and this was like kind of more vague, I guess, but follow race rules. Now, at first I was kind of like, obviously, but I hate people who break rules. Hate is probably too strong. I do not like yeah, I don't follow the rules. If there's a rule,
yeah,
especially again, this is probably it's not really running etiquette now. It's like more like race etiquette, right? Because there's not like rules unless there's like a trail. Actually, no, that's not true. If you're on a trail and they say you have to have your dog on a leash and there's people running without their dogs on a leash, hate that. Follow the rules of the trail. Same
hate
thing.
it.
Hate it. Follow the rules of the race. Recently, what was the race I did? The Philly distance run, and I was I remember I was explaining I was annoyed that I couldn't bring the stroller because I had asked if what their stroller policy was. They said no strollers for the safety of everyone. I was like, great, I'll have to make all these arrangements to not have the stroller. I see like two people running with the strollers, and that's the rule. You're not allowed to do that.
Yeah,
So, follow the rules, whatever
follow
they
the
are, even
rules,
if they're
man. Not that
silly.
hard. It's the rules are there for a reason. All of society functions much better if we just follow the rules.
But I
I'm
guess
with
here
you.
we
I'm a
are.
rule follower. I mean, I know some
Right.
non-rule followers, but I'm one of the rule followers.
I like rules. I like when people follow the rules. I don't really have issues. Again, here I am like disputing some of these running rules, but there but I like a rule.
Yeah.
If they're written down as a rule, I'm following it. If all these silly things that we're not talking about are written down as a rule, I'm doing it.
Yep. I'm with
Um
you.
but yeah, so that's one. Throw trash in bins and look before throwing. I feel like we talked about this one in some other thing recently. Um
Yeah.
Nobody
Never
does
leave
this in a
trash.
race though.
Yeah. Don't be a litter bug. Never leave trash. I mean, the only time I throw my cup down is when, it's when you're drinking the water right after the water stop, but the trash can's right there. I always try to throw it in the trash can, but it's pretty hard sometimes. So, but there are people right there that are cleaning that up. I won't run with it for half a mile and then
And
discard
then
it in the
just throw
woods.
it where
Yeah.
there's no trash. Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean that's a good one. And again, I'm like, I feel like that shouldn't need to be a thing that we're like that's an
Well, that's a
etiquette rule.
life.
Like,
That should be a life rule, right? I mean,
right.
just don't be
You
a
you
litter
throw
bug. Yeah.
trash in the trash cans. And again, if I'm throwing something across the street or across the room, you should look to make sure you're not gonna hit someone before you're throwing it. Like that just we do that, people. What is going
that, that'll
on?
that'll get you into a fight pretty quick, I think.
Right. Right. So again, yeah, that one was kind of just like, duh. And then here's yeah, the metronome thing. Notifying people. This one kind of was like, huh? Notifying people if there's a bump or a hole in the road. Yeah, sure, right? But like, never seen that happen.
Yeah, I'm trying to
That's
think of
like
a
in a big
situation.
race.
When would that come up? Like, how do I know it in advance that there's a hole up ahead, so I tell the runners around me that there's a hole, or I guess when am I warning
Or
them? I
like,
mean, is it like when the cops are on the road and you're driving, you start flashing your lights to say there's a bump up ahead for the people going the other direction?
yeah, I also think that's not what you're supposed to do. But I think, and this is what I'm picturing, but again, who knows if I'm picturing the right thing, is like I'm running over a pothole and I scream like, pothole. So then everyone behind me is now like, oh, got it. So I don't fall in this pothole. But I also don't think, I don't know.
Yeah, that
I don't know.
I didn't contemplate that scenario, but that could be something like, oh, watch out for the hole. I could see that. So you're telling the people behind you, watch out.
Yeah. Yeah. But
Immediately
again, like
people, okay.
a big race probably has like, they got it covered. They're probably not gonna be like potholes just, yeah, I don't know. Maybe there is, but yeah, that just seemed, I was like, huh, okay, sure.
Yeah, hasn't really come up with me. I've never been yelled to that there's a pothole ahead, and I've never told anyone there's a pothole. But I also am not a social runner, so I'm always running by myself. So I'm taking care of me.
Yeah, but so you should start notifying everybody about those things.
Okay.
In the spirit of being kind of, the notifying people of stuff, checking on other runners. This was one I was a little surprised about. Not surprised, but I'm like, in what, like where, right?
Yeah, I feel
And what do you mean? I guess I should have asked for clarification.
well. I mean, I would hope if you or I mean, again, I hope I would be that guy, right? You see these races where someone's really struggling at the end, or losing their bodily, not their bodily functions, they're losing control of their legs.
Yeah.
That I would think that if that was the case, I'm not so worried about my time. I'm not a professional athlete. That I would help the individual. That okay, this person seems in distress, or if they're looking like they might go down. I mean, when I was having that cramps at the last marathon in my legs, there were a number of people as they ran by. They like, hey, are you okay? You need help?
Hmm.
And I'm like, no, I'm good. I'll be okay in a couple of minutes. So that was nice. It was really nice that they asked that, and I
Oh
would
yeah.
hope I would be that person who would help someone who was in distress.
I
I
guess
know you
yeah.
would.
No, I
Maybe.
just I maybe I've been fortunate enough that I've never seen someone in distress, or maybe I'm not interpreting it as distress. Like I see people walking in races all the time and I don't really think anything of it. I've seen people have to get like the ambulance or whatever, but they're already with the ambulance. So I'm not going to be like, "Hey, you good over there?" Cuz I can't help you better than they can. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I guess that's why I'm like, what do you mean? Like, and if I saw my friends and I knew that they normally run a certain way or whatever, I would obviously be like, hey, you good? You're a little, but I'm like, I don't know how everyone runs. Like, I've seen people running and they're like doing their best, but I'm a little concerned because it just looks a little off, but that's just the way they run. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
know.
And I think it comes up rarely, right? I mean, like I got to believe in some of these big runs. There's always a few people who have a problem, and there's an ambulance or something has to get taken care of. And we've probably been fortunate not to be that person that's right with them
Yeah,
as something happens. Because there is people who have heart attacks in marathons. I mean, it does happen. It's rare, but it does happen. So again, I would if we were in the situation, I would think that we would help them and not worry about like, hey, stay to the left. You know the rules, buddy.
yeah, on that sentiment, I feel like if you are a runner or anyone who's like around other active people, you should know how to do CPR. Whether it's like formally certified, I think you should. I mean, as someone who's CPR certified, and I don't feel I would be concerned if I had to actually do CPR. Um, you should know how to do it. But
I've seen a lot of TV shows. I feel like I could do it. I mean, from based on that, I'm not certified. I will say I'm not. So I will ask if anyone else is certified before I'm the person who jumps in and starts just doing it.
fair.
But if there's no one else there, I think I can do. I think there's a song you have to sing while you're doing the beats on the. I
Do you
don't
know what
recall
song it is?
"Staying Alive."
It is right.
Yeah.
Yes, because
So
it
so
is the right cadence.
I know the basics.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the times now they take out the rescue breaths anyway, so that's really all you need to do.
Yeah. Right.
Um,
Yeah, because you're just now doing the compressions, right? You're not
mhm.
even doing the breaths in the.
But actually, this is not a first aid podcast, so don't take my word for it. I don't actually feel confident that I know the right answer. I do know how to work an AED though, so that's also a plus because they can be confusing. Anyway, moving on. And then more rules about chit chat. People had a lot of things to say. I didn't write down everything people wrote, but yes, like some people want to talk, some people don't want to talk. You should only talk a little bit, blah, 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 blah. That felt way too confusing for me to turn it into an etiquette rule. Um, but yeah, just something I guess to think about. There are people who don't want to chat. There are people who do want to chat, blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
Um, yeah, really nothing there. I don't know why I brought it up again.
No, I'm with you on that one.
It's hard. I think that's gonna be a tough one that you gotta kind of read the room. Um, I
Yes.
don't know. Um, Running through the finish line. This was another thing. Again, like, and this is gonna be one for you.
Yeah, I like this one. This one was on the list. I'm like, yeah, these things. It wasn't on my initial list initially, but when I read, I'm like, yeah, it's a perfect one.
It's a good one because agreed. I think you should, and that's always kind of the way things go. Like you run through, you move off to the side, you make sure you're not cutting anybody off, you don't stop immediately. There's, it's just a lot to do. But I will say, like a lot of big races too, as much as they do a good job with like organization and stuff, like there is so much going on at the end too that like it does kind of make it hard for people to just like you run through and you keep going because like they're taking your picture, they're doing the medals there, then there's the water and the bananas, and they're all at that same kind of space, and it's like yeah, it can lead to some congestion, even though I think they do a good job clearing people out of the way. So I'm sure we're talking about the people who just like abruptly stop or
Yeah,
whatever. But
they could barely make it. They stop. They then stop their watch. They're looking at their time. It's
oh
like
well,
that
yeah,
person there. It's like, okay, come on, let's just keep moving. Get your participation medal and let's go. Come on.
that's true. No, yeah, you don't need to be stopping to stop your watch. That is kind of annoying to me. But yeah, this was a big thing. People were saying that you need to make sure you're doing that correctly. And then one last one that was like a last minute after I checked the post again and had a couple additions to things. I think only one person said this, but it was enough for me to be like to write it down. Mostly just to be like, this is wrong. But someone said don't say good job because you don't know how the race is actually going for someone. And as the person who, especially in our smaller races, at the 5K, well, we don't really run together, but I say good job to because it's a loop, so you're passing people in different points. I say good job to every single person of the 60 people that are there that passes me or I pass them. Good job, keep it up, whatever. It's not always the same exact thing. Because everyone's running in the wintertime and they're doing a great job. So I felt personally attacked by this because that seems like now we're just talking about pet peeves. Like
Yeah.
come on, someone's trying to be nice,
Yeah,
say good job, and
you
you're
can't
like, you don't
fault
know, I'm
that.
having a crappy day.
Yeah, number 8 on this list is be nice. And I think being nice is saying stuff like encouraging people. And I get it, right? If you're stopping halfway through a marathon and you wanted to do a lot better than this, and someone's saying, "Hey, try keep going, you'll be okay. Come on, just keep going." I think encouraging people is a good thing. It does feel like someone just got caught on the bad day where someone was encouraging, they didn't really want to be encouraged.
Right, because
Um,
I can get the example of like you're saying, right? You're halfway through the marathon and things are just not going your way, and you're stopping, and someone's like, "Come on, keep going." But like oftentimes that person says that and then keeps going, like right, like they bother you for a second and they're gone. Now, if the person stopped and they're like, "No, seriously, run with me. Come on, you got this." Then you're kind of like, "All right, you
do you
don't
need
really know
help?
what's going
Do you
on."
need medical attention?
Right. You're like, all right, give me some space. Like that, I totally understand because, like, yeah, you don't actually know what's going on with them. But if it's just like, the passing, good job, keep it up, you got this, like, it's a second of like possible annoyance if you're like, I'm having a bad time. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm like, really, guys, you can't say good job now. Come on.
Yeah, I wouldn't take it that far. I think it's just one person had a bad. One person's again. Not everyone has to like all the rules. Um, I think I'm gonna err on the side of being nice.
Fair.
Yeah.
Same. As someone who breaks most of these rules. Now that's the end of my list. And then before I pose my last question, anything from your research that I missed with our social media update here?
Now you hit most of them. I think I know we talked about passing, right? So, but I guess one of it was don't be a passing jerk,
Yeah.
meaning like, you know, give the person enough room. Don't like bump them on the way by. When you're trying to pass someone, you should probably speed up a little bit so that you're not like, if they're having a conversation, you're not like for the next 3 minutes running right next to them, like part of the conversation. Like, yeah, okay, passing, you're passing, just go by them and pass. That was on that list. Let's see. Don't leave your running partner if you're running together. I mean, if you're running together, you should, again, unless you agree, like, hey, I'm going to try to do 7 minute pace. That's not. This is a hypothetical example. I'm not doing 7 minute pace. Um, but unless you sort of agree, I mean, if you go there to run together, you should probably just run together. That's probably the proper etiquette. Um, let's see. Running. You talked about running counterclockwise, right? I think you mentioned that one on the
Nope.
track. Okay, yeah. I mean,
Nope.
I think when you go to a track, it is important to just check the rules. A lot of times, these are high school or college tracks, right? Just check the rules.
I
Um,
don't do that.
yeah, because a lot of them I mean, most of us run counterclockwise. I mean, that's the way it's track is run. But occasionally, you get someone running the other direction. And the other thing that, yeah, and occasionally, what they also want you to do is typically is sort of, if you're a slower runner, run to the outside of the track, only because the inside, it does seem like it gets worn down. So you're trying to move traffic to the outside. Otherwise, that lane one gets sort of beat down a bit. Let's see. Don't cheat on your local run. I think that's a good one.
Don't
Don't cut
cheat
across.
anywhere. Follow the rules of the race.
Yeah. Follow the
Like I
rules of the
said,
race.
we hate cheaters.
Yeah. Listen to the instructions. So don't be confused at mile 8 when the sort of the half marathoners are going this way and the marathoners are going another way. Like, pay attention to what's going on. Be aware that, hey, I'm at coming up on mile 8. I'm going to have to cut over so that you don't get caught. Like, oh shucks, I got to go over the other side of the road in the next 10 feet to not get the not be on the wrong race. That was on the list. Along the gross side, so like
Oh no.
quitting, snot rocket, farting was on the list of UK rules. It was a UK list I saw that hey, it happens, but if you can move to the side a little bit, so you're not like sort of doing it right in front of the person.
I mean, sure. I
I
get. I don't think people do that though.
I don't know. Maybe in the UK they do. They had to make a rule for that. Um, you said you don't. The one part of that I am a little bit of a jerk on maybe is the running in the streets. I'm not always consistent whether I'm running with traffic or against traffic, especially whether I mean certainly on heavily traveled roads. I'm almost always running against traffic so that I can see if a car is going to hit me. I want to see it. I, I'm uncomfortable hearing a car whiz by me. So it depends on how much shoulder there is, if there's a sidewalk. Um, but otherwise, if I'm on a local street, I'll probably run with traffic only because there's only a car every 5 minutes, not every 5 seconds.
Agreed.
Yeah, and oh, the other one was on the list here was if you're running on a treadmill, don't be a treadmill jerk. Don't be that sweaty jerk that leaves the treadmill all wet and sweaty.
Oh
Wipe
yeah,
it
that's a
down.
gym rule though.
It's a gym rule, but it's a running rule. It's a running gym rule. Are you saying
Okay.
you leave the machine sweaty?
No, I'm saying that's not a running etiquette rule. That's you're at the gym, you have to clean up your equipment no matter what the equipment is. It's not a running
Okay.
specific rule.
How about at your home gym? Do you clean up your equipment?
No.
Okay.
Absolutely. Every time I use it, absolutely not. No, but I do have like special virus killing wipes in there to or bacteria, whatever it is, in
Yeah.
there for, gym purposes. But no, I definitely don't clean off the treadmill every time I use it.
All right.
I don't sweat on the treadmill.
Last one I had on these lists was on a windy day. If sometimes people will start to get into a single file just to avoid like the wind if you're running with a group.
Hmm.
Don't be the guy that's always just tagging on to the back that's getting all the benefit of the wind resistance. Offer to go up front and lead the way for a little while to take a little bit of the brunt. So don't be that jerk that's just riding on everyone else's coattails. My list is done.
I like it. Well, all that to say, um, some of that's etiquette, some of that I think is pet peeves, it kind of all blended in together. But if you are new to running, things to know, obviously, hopefully that's a little helpful, but other things to know as a runner for the past however many years of my entire life, did not follow a lot of these rules and somehow it's been fine. So do not stress over these running etiquette rules too much. Just, I get wanting to have all the info before you're like, how do I navigate a race, right? So hopefully that's a little bit helpful. But also there's probably other ones, and there's probably ones that just make no sense depending on where you are and what you're interested in doing. So really it's just like be safe, be courteous, be nice.
And don't be a
Running
running
jerk
jerk.
like me. But before we wrap it up, even though I said this was going to be shorter and it's like already kind of not, um, when you're, again, because we are not competitive, even though we like to have goals and whatever, we're not like elite competitive runners. Some of these, because I think they're not always etiquette rules, I think kind of go out the window a little bit. I'm thinking back to, well, when I ran cross country and like that specifically. And that was a little more like you can get a little physical. Like it was fine to throw some elbows. You didn't have to worry too much about, stepping on people's toes. You don't want to cut somebody off to the point of you falling, but like nobody really cared if you're like weaving in and out, doing all kinds of things. So some of these rules are different if you're in a competitive setting. Do you agree? Or
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. I think you still want to be a good sportsmanship. Like I don't think you
yeah,
want to intentionally trip the person in front of you. That's not good sportsmanship. But
correct.
yeah, I agree. I think most of the runs that we all do nowadays, right? They're fun runs, right? It's yes, we have goals, but there's a difference in high school and college when you're talking about competitive running. And I do think you can be more aggressive, a little more physical, because if you're not, you may be the person who's receiving the elbow, not necessarily giving the elbow. But again, you want to be a good sport. You don't really want to intentionally ruin someone else's day. If you can beat them fair and square, beat them fair and square, and that's what you should do.
Oh, for sure. I think different levels of competitiveness probably have different levels of like gritty rule following. I imagine like the elite athletes now that we see that we kind of talked about in our last episode um, have more etiquette rules to follow. And I'm sure there's lots of like little tiny rules that we don't even really, talk about or know about. Did you ever see, and I'm sure this has probably happened more than once, but I saw a video years ago of, because the elite runners they don't do the little water cups, right? They have their fueling bottles on the table or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, the fueling station. And some runner, whether he couldn't grab his water or whatever, knocks everyone's bottles off the thing.
Oh,
Yeah,
uh,
right. Insane. So I imagine there was probably some kind of like repercussion for those kinds of things. But like you'd like to think that was an accident and he like tripped or tried to grab his thing, but it's like it looked very intentional. Like he knocked everyone's stuff down, and then it's like, wow. Really there was no point to that besides just like that was obviously like a not following running etiquette. But yeah, crazy though.
yeah, and I've been watching a bunch of marathons on YouTube, so like my spare time, and I see just the opposite, right? What I have seen is, like someone misses their water bottle, and it does seem like the elite runners they share, like they will share,
hmm
like even some of the the pacers will share their water bottles, or the elite athletes will offer the pacer his water bottle. So I do see a
Yeah.
lot more sharing and a lot more etiquette that you wouldn't necessarily expect in a competitive marathon.
That is the one thing I think about running is especially kind of at all levels. I mean, obviously we just like went through some pet peeve people complaining kind of rules, but like everybody really it is like a community, which I know I say constantly. But everyone is like kind of welcoming. They like to help, they like to educate, they like to kind of bring people under their wing. um and like people don't want to be like bad, right? Like they want to just be kind, they want to be good, they want to enjoy their run, but they also hope other people enjoy their run. So it is kind of like a warm and fuzzy type of group of people, I think sometimes, which is nice.
Yeah, that's been my experience too. I don't think it's the rare occasion you come across the true running jerk.
Right. Right. All right, well that's all I have for all of our running stuff. Are you doing the 5K this weekend?
It was it this weekend.
Yeah,
What day is it?
it is Sunday.
Then yes, I am.
All right, we'll probably be there unless everyone's still ill in this household. But
I will be there, and I'm going to be in Connecticut at on Saturday, so it'll be a late night for me on Saturday to get back, but I will make it.
all right, cool. Yeah, that's the second one. And then there's the next one's gonna be on the 21st.
All right, no, if I'm looking forward to it. I haven't run a 5K in a while, since last year, in fact. So
Yeah. You're feeling speedy lately, so look for
I
that
don't know.
5K PR.
I don't know. Yeah, probably not. It wouldn't be difficult to beat most of my 5K PRs to date. So
There you go. See, that's all that matters. Perspective. All right, well, thanks.
thank you.